So I recognize myself for questions. First, let me thank all the panelists for coming. This is an issue that I studied, the census, when I was in grad school back in 2001 and 2002. So yes, I was that dork who studied the census. But I also understood what it means, right, in the history of this country, what it means when it comes to either the marginalization or the empowerment of particular communities, and what it means for drafting policies that reflect that changing demographic, where people live, how they live, what they look like, what are the issues that they're getting impacted by. And that's what the census is all about. I want to encourage my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that the census is not, shouldn't be used to marginalize communities, to silence voices. Because the changing demographics that are occurring in this country, I believe, and I've been seeing it for the last 20, 30 years, is inevitable. As sure as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, it will occur. And there are brown Latinos that live in rural Georgia, Asians that live in the Midwest, as well as African Americans that live in the Northeast, right? This country is just changing. So we want to make sure that everybody is counted, because that's how you have a truly representative democracy. So with that, I want to kind of ask a few questions. Mr. Vargas, you're familiar with my district.
Sir, I'm a constituent.
Yeah. I want to just have a question. A lot of people talked about partnership specialists. What have you been hearing on the ground about the effectiveness of the newly hired partnership specialists within the Latino community? Are they generally fluent in Spanish, or are they culturally sensitive?
Some are. In fact, they have hired some very excellent partnership specialists across the country that we've had the opportunity to work with, but there also have been other partnership specialists that, in our opinion, have been not well deployed in the sense that they don't have the skill sets, the language to work in the community where they're being deployed by the Census Bureau. And in other cases, because of the timing and the rush to hire enough people, they're not adequately trained. And so they're misinformed about the full range of the census operation. So those are the concerns that we have at this point.
Okay, thank you. Another issue that's becoming extremely urgent in California is just the growing homelessness population. It is something that I know that there's 130,000 plus homeless individuals in California, 58,000 in LA County alone. Ms. Gupta, what do you see as the barriers to counting the homeless population? And do you think that the Census Bureau has a strategy to actually ensure that they are counted?
Well, they are among the most vulnerable population for the Bureau, in part because of their transience in communities and the like. And I think the Bureau is really going to need to work with direct service providers, mobile food units, shelter, soup kitchens, and the like, as well as enumerating at outdoor locations and some 24-hour businesses to get an accurate count. The Bureau does have some strategies that they've put in place, but we have been urging them to do more with direct service providers in the way that I just mentioned, and also to coordinate really intensively with hard-to-count community leaders to prepare. A lot of community leaders that are running these direct service soup kitchens and the like, they know where the homeless populations are seasonally in their districts, and so having a very close-knit coordination is going to be really vital to ensuring that the homeless people are counted.
One of the things I would just like to point out is that homelessness is not just occurring in California, but throughout the country.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a challenge for blue states as well as red states, urban areas as well as rural areas. So thank you so much for all the witnesses for being here and testifying on this important issue. Now it's time to make sure that we get the count that we need.